Monte's World Podcast, my celebrities and heroes. I look at these people as celebrities and the things that they do, and I also look at these people as heroes for what they've been through and what they've still been able to accomplish, ladies and gentlemen. Monte's World Podcast, my celebrities and heroes.
I got to bring up my sister first and how that situation happened before I got to swing it back, because it's something that I'm going to bring up that I know you're going to die laughing. Because when people bring this up, they get hurt when they bring this up. And I'm pretty sure you might know what I'm talking about. But
I'm trying to think, like, what is this?
Bro. Oh, no. When I say it, you're going to be like, bruh, the N-bomb might drop because of how crazy this was. Yeah.
Okay.
But before we go there, okay, should I say, I don't want to bring that in. Okay, I'll go this route. When did you start going to church, and what church did you go to first before you?
Okay, so again, shout out to Tony Clayton. So like I basically grew up in church-ish because him and my mom was like a item or whatever. So and so the church that he had was called Logos Ministries. I don't know. I'll never forget that. But that was the joint, and we used to have church at the YWCA in Kansas.
I remember that.
And so like that was that, like when my mom, she read us Bible stories all the time, and had to pray. Matter of fact, the prayer that we had that she taught us when we were little was the same prayer I taught the boys when they was little, to pray over their food and stuff and all of that. But anyway, so we was there, and then ultimately once we got to Canton, officially moved there, then we eventually transitioned to Trinity Gospel Temple. And it was there for a minute. Shout out to Brother Dave.
Brother Dave. Yeah.
Man, funny story real quick. So like Brother Dave Lombardi, Italian dude or whatever, he's still a pastor there. He like 93 or something.
Yeah, he's so old, bro.
He's still out there. But so like, I used to have asthma real bad. Was in the hospital, and I never forget, I had just watched, what movie came out? Some kind of mafia type movie had just came out. I had just seen it, like, because it got to a point at the hospital, like I'm in there and they had a little thing like, oh, we can bring the movies or whatever. So I watched this movie. And I can't remember what it was. I know it was some mafia movie. And then no sooner than the movie is over with, I'm sitting in the bed or whatever, just like kind of chilling. I see two Italian looking dudes with suits on come to the door and stand there talking about, are you Larry Mayo?
For real?
Yeah, this is real life. I look over there. I'm like, who's asking? And then the other guy, he's just like, oh, sorry about that. I'm sure that was probably, a little weird for you. They actually were from the church, from Trinity. And but they just came in so aggressive, seemingly, like all of a sudden, and they was just coming by to check in because Brother Dave heard I was in the hospital from asthma, and so
that's dope, man. I thought it was Brother Dave.
Yeah, see that I was good, but I'm like, man, they look like some enforcers that was showing up. You know what I'm saying? Like I owe somebody something. I'm like, man, I just seen the movie. I'm like, what's the deal, man? Like,
this is crazy.
Yeah, it got real in that split second. But anyway, so it was at Trinity for a minute. And then
keep going.
Then Mom, she ended up with shout out to the artist formerly known as
we always call him that.
What was that? What was his joint called? Thankful Missionary Baptist Church.
Wow. Where was that at?
It was right over there, kind of near y'all. Like if you have Fairmont and then you I don't even know how to explain it. Like it wasn't far from Fairmont, basically. And so he was there we was there, Thankful Missionary, and that, you know, because so my mom and him, they got married.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, by default now we just, you know, the family there or whatever. And I'm like, okay. And then eventually, you know, Thankful Missionary, I was thankful to get up out of there because it wasn't like, it just wasn't a whole lot going on. It was basically just him. And then like his sister was there with like her kids. Well, they ain't
wow.
kids. And then like, and then out of nowhere though,
wow,
ridiculously funny. So he's aggressively like, you know, this is what we doing, you know, whatever. We there every Sunday. He there every single day working on stuff and building stuff and you know, whatever. He's just like married to this building.
Yeah.
And, the next thing I know, there's this old dude there, and he's like trying to help folks, like, because my mom can't sing to save her life. And but she was like doing praise and worship because she's the pastor's wife, and I guess that's what he wanted her to do. And then so, but you know, Shannon, my older sister, she can sing, and so but in any event, like she wasn't trying to do all that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But anyway, it was this old dude there, and then they started being like, oh yeah, we're gonna have y'all be the choir, and he gonna help y'all do the choir thing and all of this stuff. And you know, and so like I start channeling. So like back, you know how you had those concerts in elementary school, you know, the choir concerts, everybody come.
Yeah.
When I tell you I lip sing every single one of those joints, I never, ever sang out loud. I was just up there moving my mouth.
Yeah, right.
I was straight, but you know, every class up there had to sing or whatever.
Right.
So I was trying to channel that at first, but it was like 4 of us, so it's not
right.
Hard. And it's like, you know, so the dude, the older guy, was like, "Are you singing?" I'm like, I think so. What you mean you think so? I'm like, I think so. I'm like, yeah, I'm saying a little something. So anyway, you know, that thing was failing miserably. It used to be funny watching practices though, because we was having choir practice with the 5 of us, and he was making Mr. Artist sing, and this man would just talk the words. It was, but it used to be funny. It was funny. So then after that whole phase is over with, I forgot where I was. I was at your crib.
Yeah,
I had to be. And I don't know what it was, but at that point, that's when I, you know, started being around a lot or whatever. And I look up and I'm like, it's you. And it's the old dude that was a choir director. It was your grandfather, man.
What? That whole time?
Yes, a McNeil. It was him. But I didn't know who he was. It was just this old dude who was like trying to direct us with these 4 people. And I'm like, I don't know how old I was. I mean, I guess technically I was an adult probably by the time my mom had got remarried.
Wow, dude.
But yeah, man, it was your grandfather.
Look at that circle, dude. That's crazy. Man,
it was just so crazy. I know.
Grandfather is the legend as far as choir directors is concerned.
For sure.
For
sure. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT around there.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, but anyway, so then after that whole phase, and I went and dipped away from there. Then at that point, you know, because I mean, I was an adult, and then I'm just like, okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And so then you know, I was kind of be a Trinity a little bit or whatever. And then ultimately, I don't know what y'all had, but then you ended up saying something about me coming through to y'all's church or whatever, kind of see y'all had jumping off. And you know, that's just what it was after that.
Wow, man. So that's oh, see, dang, I want to go there, but I gotta bring this up first because this was before. I think this was before the church thing kicked in. So I mean, let's talk about down bad, bro. Down bad. Yo, bro, we had. Listen, wait. We had down bad. Remember, we got higher level HL with Willie and them. Remember that when you was playing the keys for that? Like, bro, listen.
Yo, son.
When did you start playing? Because that's what I'm saying before I go into that. Like the rapping, like when was you freestyling and rapping? Because we used to freestyle a lot. But then we see you played the keys when all of that stuff, and then we go over to my shout out to my boy Rob Francis. we over here rapping on cassette tapes and stuff like that. Me, you, G Bush, Rashad, Bryson, bro, come on, man. Rashad was making the beats, like, bro. We like this. Listen, this is legendary stuff here. This is legendary stuff here.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, this is legendary stuff here. Like higher level HL. That was a thing, but it wasn't as big as Down Bad. Down Bad was crazy,
man. So that whole higher level thing, man. Like,
yeah, that was Marcus Thomas, Willie. I was in it at one point, but then you got Curtis.
Yeah, like so the whole thing was this, like from my role. So at the time, that's what me and Rashad was rolling real deep. You know what I'm saying? He got back from Columbus.
Yeah,
or I don't even know if he had left yet. But I don't think he had left yet. And so, like, we was real tight, you know what I'm saying? We was always around. It was kind of funny because it was phases. Like, at first, me and him was mad tight.
Yeah.
We dipped and went to Columbus, and then me and Duran got mad tight, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, so me and him, we mad tight. And at the time, I'll never forget, it was the song Crazy Over You that they was going to do.
112.
112. Shout out to 112, which is my office number at work.
Really?
Coincidentally. So, William see it or whatever. I'm like, you already know. I'm like, it's where the players dwell. And he's like,
wow, that's where the players dwell for sure.
But yeah. So anyway, we was talking with them or something, and they like, that's the cut they gonna sing.
Yo, y'all gotta come see this. Oh, this looks crazy. So what is this called right here?
That's the fry bowl. It's like...
so it got fries, chicken,
exactly,
and the sauce is on top.
Yep.
Yo, this is crazy. Yeah, if y'all ain't made it out here in the city yet, y'all gotta come here. Y'all gotta come check my mans out. We out here whipping it up. They out here getting it crazy.
Yeah. And, they were seeing if Rashad could make the music and he's like, well, you know, whatever. So we was talking about it. And so I'm at they crib, Rashad's crib, listening to the song. And then Rashad is like, you know, trying to see about how to figure it out or whatever, and like trying to get it down. And you know how it sound, you know, the intro or whatever. And he got the keyboard, and he's like, I think it's something like this. And then I just go over there, and then I, you know, that first key.
Yep, and that was it.
Okay, it's like that, and then he's just looking at me, and I'm like, "What?" he's like, "How are you doing that?"
Another talent.
Doing what? I'm like, you can't hear that. I'm like, it's this right here. He's like, well, now that you're doing it, I see that's what it is. But he's like, see, man, that ain't fair. He used to say all the time, that ain't fair. You know, whatever, joking around, whatever. But like, that's the first time I had ever touched any keys at all.
Wow.
That song, listening to it at their crib, and we downstairs, and then just like seeing that I could hear it and then
pick it up. Yeah.
And like then after that, I eventually got me a cheap little keyboard, and then I would just listen to cuts, you know, something with a piano in it, some kind of R&B slow song or something, and I just listen to it, and you know, I hear the song like, okay, that's one I got to get, you know what I'm saying? And then I would get the song, and then I would play it, and I would hear the first few chords, and then I'd stop it and go to the keyboard, find it. I'm like, okay, yep, that's it. And then go back and I do a whole freaking song like that. And then I just like that's how I started. I'm like, man, these keys, man, tickling these ivories, boy.
I'm telling you, bro, that when that Cheers to You by Player came out and y'all played, I was like, bro, I was like, yo, you gotta show me how to play that. I remember when I was playing that for everything. That joint was tough.
Yeah, so like that's how that went. And I remember when the talent show came around, like
that was the Leland Green talent show.
Yeah, right? Then somehow I was supposed to then play the song for them because it went from, you know, him was gonna do it, and he's like, well, you already getting it, so I was supposed to play the song while they sung it, but then that didn't work because, you know, they had like a house band or whatever for that. Yeah. And then like, unless
I think Mr. McFerrin was around that. I think.
And so like, unless you were like a music, like unless what you were doing in the talent show was music, you either the people that was the house folks either did music or you could play something. So they wouldn't let me play. And so I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right.
And but then, you know, by the time it got to the talent show, they had a you know what I'm saying? They had a group breakup like cats do after they a group for like 10 years.
Who is Amarion? Willie Sparkman is Amarion.
Exactly. And I remember he
shout out to Will.
What's that cut?
Oh, you talking about Carl Thomas?
That's it.
I know. Yeah, that's Carl Thomas. What song was that? With the Carl Thomas joint he sung in the it was Love That's the First Time. I know, how's that song? Still Belong to Someone Else. Dang. It was Love at First Sight. I forgot what the song was called. Yeah. Well, he had the S curl and everything for that. Like not the S curl, but the mix curl and all that.
Right, with the white everything, and it was
yes, sir.
His collar.
Yes, sir. Willie was Willie. Willie was Willie.
Yeah, they broke. I'm like, how y'all gonna break up before the group officially even had their first man?
Young one. Wow, bro.
Like y'all, the ego trips was real back then. But
it was crazy.
It was just kind of funny. But but then and like this whole rapping thing, man, I swear,
bro.
I don't know how.
I don't know how it happened either. I think it's all kicking it hard at the same time at one point.
I don't know. I mean, usually I just end up around and then stuff is happening. And then, and I know I can pick up on stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
I know the one time I did my whole keyboard thing with a song. It was what was it? I feel like it was some Bone Thugs and Harmony or something. And I wanted to see if I could rap fast because I felt like it was possible because people can't. And it was basically somebody, my sister, somebody, cousin, something was saying, "Oh, you can't do that. Only certain people could do that." And I'm like, okay, that's all I need to hear. Somebody say I can't do something. And so I remember, back when we used to record the radio stations, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm recording the radio station on the cassette. And the song came on, and so I had it. And then I went back and kept listening to write all the words down. And it took me a minute. I don't remember what song it was, but I figured, like trying to figure out how to do it and say it and breathe at the same time. Yeah. And so like I had did that. Like this is before I met any of y'all, and like nobody knew it. And it just for me, I'm like, I knew I could do that. Like I was satisfied. But then I don't know. Then somehow I'm over there with y'all and everybody doing whatever. And then the next thing I know, that's what it was. It started with we about to do this song for Massa McKinley Week.
Yes, that's what exactly was for.
That's how it started. Because
then what it was.
Y'all talked me into getting a little piece of this cut. Everybody got to write something for this cut. And
F the Tiger.
I remember whatever I wrote, it wasn't even the full 16 or nothing.
No.
It was like a little sample. It was just like a little taste or whatever.
Wow.
And like that's the first time I ever that's the first time I ever wrote something by myself.
Yeah.
I just kind of wrote the first thing I ever wrote at all that was any kind of collaboration was courtesy of my mom. we watching 227 one night in the winter.
Really?
And they got the rapping on 227.
Oh.
And no, not 227 on Amen, because you know that was the church.
Oh yeah, that's the joint. Yeah, fact.
So they got the rapping on Amen, and she was like, "We could do something like that," which reminds me so much of your sister now. Anytime something come on,
yeah, we could do that. Let's flip it. Let's flip
like
it.
we could do that. We could do that. We could do that. The way you acting is how William be. Like,
oh my gosh.
But yeah, so it was so yeah. So anyway, we write this random Christmas rap thing that my mom mostly did. It was super random, but that, you know, I never even really thought about that. But yeah, so we in there up at Draco's
Draco's spot, Rob Francis spot, bro.
Rob's spot. Up in this room all hot, all these Negroes upstairs. And shout out to his moms, because she was just the nicest woman ever.
She was
loud and musty all up there making all this noise. And she was just cool. You know what I'm saying? Like she was letting us do our thing or whatever. And so but yeah, man, I don't know. It was just that cut. And then, you know, it was like y'all kind of like, you gotta write something.
Yo, it was like, bro. It was like 3 joints. Like, what is beef? That beef joint?
Oh, yes, that
beef joint. Like, if you got beef with Boogie and then all this stuff, like, bro. And then it was like, after Tiger City, get them down from bro. Like, the creative part about this is the fact that when Rob was recording us, if you mess up, we would have to start all over, which means everybody first had to be clean.
Yes. You had to be,
and we would always get to Duran's part, and he would always mess up, and his verse would be last. So we would have to start all over. Bro, that stuff used to be crazy, man.
I wonder if that's why I always started going last with Broken Vessel. I wonder if
man,
because of that. Like, we need a closer. We need somebody that's close this thing out every time on time.
God.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, we would have to. That's why we would be there for so long.
Yes, we'd be there so long because everybody can't get their verse.
We would finally be ready to do something, and then it would take somebody messing up. Somebody would mess up or start laughing or sneeze.
You got to start all over
or whatever, and then you got to start the whole thing over. I remember one of the times,
wrong.
A couple times we would go through the whole thing perfect, and then he wasn't recording or something. Like
it
was just so many random
microphone hanging from the ceiling. We all standing around the joint.
Right.
Everybody hopping in, hopping out. This all, bro. What, bro?
And, oh my gosh, man.
Bro.
That was.
Now, was that before you did Meet Me at McDonald's joint? Was that before that legendary song y'all got? When you did the Busy joint? When you was rapping about McDonald's? Was that before or was that after?
That was, oh man, it's hard to say. I feel like it had to be after.
That was after?
Maybe. Well, no. That
was before.
That was before. I forgot about that. So that would have been the first thing. Because I don't. So we had seen a commercial similar from the song. And then God was talking about it, and they had a contest supposedly of being able to redo a song. And he was like, he'd get the music, and so we was talking about doing that cut. I was like, that would be cool if we did that cut. And then so he mainly worked on the music to get it tight, and then I was working on the words, and it took a minute just because it had to be the same. You know what I'm saying?
Had to be.
Like you wanted it to match the same cadence or whatever. And so that was kind of the tricky part. But yeah, man, we got that joint down, and then I remember some years later when he recorded it on something. He was like, I got a surprise for you. And then, finally recorded it on something. But man, that was just so funny. But yeah, that took a minute, man. So I guess that would have been the first real kind of thing, even though it was just kind of being funny or whatever. But Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
Man, I'm telling you, when you know, you know. Some people will understand the story, and some people
yeah,
won't. Like, yeah, like, but
yeah,
yo, that stuff used to be wild, man. But we had to go through all of that stuff, man. Just that
yeah.
down bad. That was a season, man. That was a
Man, that
season.
was that was just
That was
that
a
was
season. And
crazy.
we was mobbing because I'm talking about G. Bush, Bryson. Everybody was
Yeah,
at that spot at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
And we was,
Just
I think we all rode in the Poke Mobile at the time.
it had to be something
Or
like
you
that.
had the dynasty. Did you have the
Yeah,
dynasty, the
yeah,
dynasty
yeah.
at the time?
I had the mystery machine jumping off.
Yeah,
Right over.
man,
Yeah,
bro,
man. We used to get after it over there.
bro,
With
man,
all of that stuff, man. That was crazy. And then
bro.
yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. And I got more. That right there, that's light too. But man, I'm telling you, bro, it was so much. Like them times was just epic. Like you would have to be there. You can't even really like explain
Yeah,
it. You would actually,
yeah,
bro, you had to be there. You
yeah,
had to be
yeah,
there, yo,
yeah, yeah.
bro,
I know, I know. I'm trying to
bro.
think. I remember talking to William before or something. Uh and I used to say, like, yeah, I remember every verse to everything I ever wrote. And now you bringing
Yeah,
up all this stuff. I'm like,
yeah,
man,
bro. Yeah,
really
bro.
true.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
like,
Yeah,
I'm like, you
bro.
bringing up stuff I forgot even
Yeah,
existed.
bro.
I'm
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to catch everything in that. Okay, I think so. I think I could slide Desiree in here now because I think after this, then everything else happened after that. So how did that happen? How did Desiree happen? My
so
sister.
so so after that joint when I met you at the overnighter, like
Uh huh.
then the three of us start rolling deep all the time. Me
Yeah.
and Duran, and
All day.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying, and then we was hitting up, you know what I'm saying, movies for like every night, watching Scream and Scream
Oh,
2,
bro, when we
Scream
rolled
3.
down the aisle, bro, we
Yes,
slept like 4 or 5 times, bro.
because it
You
was
just,
only $1, the real dollar
bro,
movie. Like
bro,
listen, America and the world, Canton, Ohio, out in North Canton, they used to have an actual movie theater that the movie tickets were $1, and every night we would just go in the summer, no matter what
bro,
we did that day. We was hitting an
bro,
11 o'clock show at
bro,
this theater,
bro.
watching the same movies over and over
Same movie,
again.
same,
And
laughing at the same parts.
yeah, because that's when I think you was there when I was about to when I squared up with that dude who was pretending he was
Oh shoot, yeah, I was there.
Mexican or whatever. And as soon as
Yeah,
we walk in the door, I'm like, that's a real person right there. And I
yeah,
know it ain't. That's just, I'm like,
yeah. I remember that.
that's a real person. I just
Yeah, I
know,
remember that.
telling you that's a real person. And we got to walking by, and I just was talking real loud at him, like, look, man, you better show yourself now, because I promise if you try to make a move when
I
I
was
walk
there.
by, I'm gonna swing and punch you right in the mouth. And then
Yep,
immediately the dude just turned like, all right. People were like, oh my gosh,
yep,
I
yep,
realize this is real.
yep,
But
yep.
yeah, man, like that. Yeah. So,
Wow,
so anyway, so
wow.
like at this point, we rolling deep, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like all the time. And then like eventually, like I met her and your mom
hmm,
just like coming to pick you up, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
When
yeah.
we
Fact,
up,
we about to go
you
hoop or
know,
something. Yeah,
yeah. So
yep.
it was just real regular. And then once I start being over at your crib a little more, just from that, and we would all be over there and stuff. I mean, I'm on record as saying this, which was the truth. Like she had an attitude, man. Like that got on my
Straight
nerves.
up,
Like she
straight up.
had an attitude with everybody about everything. You know what
Uh
I'm
huh.
saying? It's like
Straight
constantly.
up.
And so, but it was like whatever. Like I'm like we there doing our thing, and I ain't really think much of it. But then once like I started being around y'all more was
Mhm.
once I started like going to the church like
Yeah,
regularly, you know what I'm saying? So then
yeah.
that's when I was still kicking with the
Yo, real quick, I hate to pause the show, but I want to let you know
It's a new podcast out there, the MNT podcast. Monte and my bro Tone. Y'all make sure y'all go follow that. The Monte and Tone podcast, MNT. So the letter M, the what is that? The N sign and the T podcast. Make sure you share, like, comment, subscribe. We talking about everything, relationships, business ideas, what goes on in the Uber world, because we both Uber drivers, what goes on in relationships, what goes on in all these things. We got a lot of knowledge for you. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. Get with us. We're going to be doing interviews. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. You might pop up on you, and we're going to have some merch ready to go as well. So make sure y'all share, like, comment, and most of all, subscribe to the M&T podcast, Monte and Tone's podcast, man. Back to the show.
With Duran a little bit, but like then, you know, a lot of the time I was spending like at y'all's crib, and then like at the church, it was at church dang near every day for
all the time.
But but like that's just what it was. And so like, you know, then just being around y'all and the family, and you know what I'm saying, all of that stuff. And so like, I mean, really, it was never nothing, like, you know, for the longest. And, you know, she'll say that, you know, the first thing she said when she met me was like, wow, you're tall, or something like that, which, you know, people always said. So I didn't, you know, think nothing of that. But yeah, so like, you know, I was just like primarily around, you know, with you and whatever. And because then by that point, like, once I was officially had joined the church and was like, somehow ended up playing praise and worship with you or whatever, which I also never forget. Once again, these overnighters, we had an overnighter at the one church that was on Market, some black church, and
Black Church Market.
Who's the one dude everybody knew that did music? He was like a pastor or something. Everybody knew this guy. He was a big dude, tall too, in Canton. Everybody knew this guy.
You talking about Sarge?
No, he was a pastor, like for real, not Sarge, but everybody knew him too. But Dunwoody.
Pastor Dunwoody. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did do the overnighters. Yeah, Pastor Dunwoody.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him. He passed away too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
crazy organ player, monster.
Yeah, him. So they had an overnighter, and we went, or we was there. I don't know if we went together, but we ended up going, and you was there, and we was, you know, I was there, whatever. And it's so funny. What was it? I'm trying to think what it was. I don't know, but at the time we had known each other by this point, and we're hooping all that stuff. Like we knew each other, and that was usually up until that point. That was the extent of it, and then we it was a piano down in wherever big hall room area we was in. I cannot remember what the song was, but you start playing one part of it, and you was like, it's another part to it, but like I can't do it all at the same time. I can only do this part. And like I knew that joint, and I started playing the other part. And so we're playing at the same time.
On the piano, I remember that.
Piano.
What song was that?
Neither one of us knew that either one of us could even do anything on the piano. And so, and that was just randomly, just, you know, random thing that happened. And then, you know, by the time, you know, I ended up eventually being at the church and all of that. And then that's just all we did every Sunday. Was just play off each other and play together, like, you know what I'm saying? For years.
So years.
So that's just so crazy how I'll never forget how that. And I can't. It was just some random like little.
What song was that?
I can't even remember. It was some random cut. But
we will always blend the R&B with the joint.
My gosh, you had to because that's who had the. I mean, you know, and so like for those that don't know, I mean, what we did for praise and worship and stuff, like we came up with songs on the spot every Sunday. Like every Sunday, it was just a new song. And, you know, and so, but, you know, for me, the only way that I started dabbling and like coming up with some stuff myself, but the heartbeat of everything I did came from listening to these R&B
Oh
cuts
yeah.
that got
Oh
piano
yeah.
in them. You know what I'm saying? Like that was always my thing. And so, and you know, and plus, it's only so many chords. You know what I'm saying? There's so many
Exactly.
keys
Yeah,
and so
this is
many
super rare.
chords. So
Yeah.
I mean, you know, now they advertise that stuff like
Yeah.
you had to play 100 songs in 5 minutes,
And from yeah.
3 chords, and
That's
then they
it.
just play them differently, and then it's all of these
Crazy.
different songs. So
It's
you
crazy.
know, so a lot of that is just kind of how it goes a little bit, but yeah, I mean, so you know, we was
What's
doing
that?
our thing at the church, and you know, I was playing and all
What's
that
that?
stuff, and
I'm
then
still talking. Look at that song.
by that point, you know, I was just grafted in with everybody else, and
Yeah.
then I used to just be at y'all's crib like all the time, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
eventually,
you got a little family across the street. So we used to go over there and hoop and stuff like
yeah,
that.
and Carol and Uncle Ted, staying across the street from where you lived, which was funny. We would talk about because we didn't never know each other
at all
until like years later. But y'all used to come over, like, so you know, my aunt and uncle would have cookouts all the time, and like apparently y'all used to be at them joints
all
like
the time.
would always invite
all the time,
and never met, never known any of y'all, with y'all being right across the street. And then you know we eventually meet years later, and then when I found out where you lived, I'm like,
right across the street,
they just move over here or something? And he's
been
like,
over.
I think they've been living here for forever. And then you know, but yeah, so it's crazy. Like our worlds have always been like right there,
intertwined the whole time,
like right next to each other the whole time.
Yeah,
for the longest. But yeah, so like you know, was at y'all's crib a lot, you know, at church and all of that stuff, and you know, get my mind right or whatever. And then I just like the first, I guess, phase of it, because like we never really like dated or nothing like that. The first phase of it, which was a very odd thing, was I knew I had to have this conversation with her, and I knew it had to be private because, you know, she liked to put on the show with her attitude or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't got time for that
at all.
So like, so
that's great.
I remember we up in the living room, and one thing that was actually something, probably the very first thing that happened that I realized after the fact that kind of started at least for me, kind of seeing what direction things were going. And you know, the Bible talks about he that findeth a wife finds good things. When I start seeing that the finding was in process, was actually, shout out to Tia. I'm upstairs at y'all's crib.
Tia, the dog, our old dog. Tia.
I'm upstairs at y'all's crib.
Yeah.
Apparently, Tia used to not mess with people like that. Like, and so it wasn't too long after I was there, and it was one night. It was like the first real conversation I had with your mom. And I was kind of waiting for you on one of these late night, you know, movies for joint. I'm in there, we waiting, and I sit down, and then your mom sit on that
pink couch.
That pink couch.
The pink couch.
Like, I don't know why she thought that was of God.
And then we had the green joints, nothing matched.
That was not it. That was not it.
That's funny.
Not so, said Christ. Shout out to
that
Pastor.
Is so funny.
So like she's sitting on that joint, and I'm sitting on this chair.
Yeah.
And I used to not like to even really be in there like that, because I'm like, I don't know people's dogs like that. And I'm like, everybody swear their dog is nice and ain't gonna do nothing. But then I done seen Tia get all aggressive with cats. And so I'm like, you know, it's whatever. I ain't even gonna be all in there like that. And so your mom invited me, oh, you come in, you can come in and wait. I'm like, okay.
Right, yeah.
I sit down in the chair, she on that horribly ugly pink couch. And we start talking, and then Tia is by her, you know, kind of like sitting there, you know, protection mode.
Yeah.
And she walks over brushes against my legs, and then just sits down right at my feet. And then she's just leaning against me, sitting there. And
wow,
your mom was just talking about like
that don't happen.
That doesn't happen. Like that's
Don't
not a
happen.
thing. And
Yeah.
and I'm just like, don't move. If you make a sudden move and this
Right, and she might turn
it's
up.
gonna be a problem. Right, right. Then it's gonna be a problem.
Turn up.
This dog trying to be whatever. I don't know what she's trying to pull right now.
Right.
But you know, so anyway, you know, so like that was just like a little thing. But anyway, so like I'm like, okay, I gotta have this conversation with her. And you know, like I said, at this point, you know, I'm, you know, all in my stride with, you know, being in my word and, you know what I'm saying, just, you know, getting my mind right and all of that stuff. And so this is, you know, a few years now after, a few years after we had met, and really after I met all y'all.
Yeah.
And so I had this conversation with her, and I just like, I'm like, okay, so here's the deal. And you know, she didn't even want to sit there for the talk. She's like, "Well, I don't want to." You know, I'm like, stop. Like, let's see, like this is what I'm about to talk to you about. And I basically tell her how I'm like, look, I mean, and, you know, at this point, I'm just quote Greg's friend, like,
right.
else, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't still nothing. And I'm like, this is how this thing is gonna go. I'm like, I don't care what you do, what you say, how you treat anybody else, but you're not gonna treat me like you treat everybody else. That's just not a thing. And she was just like, you know, who do this Negro think he is?
Think he talking to? Yeah.
I feel like she said something in that vein, most likely. And I could just remember, I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's unacceptable. Like, we're not gonna do that. Like, you can have an attitude with everybody else, more power to you. But we not about to do that. Like, we're not gonna have no conversation like that. And so mind you, I ain't never had a conversation with nobody like that in my life. Like, if somebody on some other stuff, it's just whatever to me. Like, I'm going about my business. But so you know, like that was a thing. And then from there, it just kind of slowly kind of morphed into that where, you know, it was like whatever, but then she would still not, you know, treat me like she did these other folks. And then fast forward some time from there, and you know, it wasn't like it was this one big epiphany, but it got to the point where, I mean, it was made clear that this is the person that I'm going to end up marrying, which is, again, we hadn't done none of that stuff. But like, you know, when it, you know, like you said, when they talk about when he finds the wife, finds the good thing, like all of that stuff is based on you as the he in the situation, being where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know, because you can find anything at any time technically, but it's like being lined up and in place and plugged in where you're supposed to be, and your focus not being on that, you know what I'm saying? And so like that's where I was. And so the furthest thing from my mind had anything to do with, you know, marriage. And like I was good with being single and trying to, you know, at the time I was living with Robert and Janelle. I had just left my mom's crib.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and so like, you know, I was just kind of trying to start making my own way. But ultimately, you know, like once I could see that that was the thing, then I started kind of, you know, that's when Elder Sean really started becoming my mentor and stuff. You know, we talking and, you know, and I'm kind of breaking the stuff down and we going over stuff and, you know, and I'm praying about it and this and that. And, you know, and then eventually it was just, we had a conversation. I mean, a while after that, and, you know, I just was telling her, like, we just talked about it. Like, again, it wasn't, you know, eventually I proposed officially and then all of that stuff. We actually had talked about it. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, so, and so once I knew, I'm jumping ahead, once I knew, like, okay, this is what it is, you know, this is what it's supposed to be, then I started operating like that's what it was from a like non-physical standpoint. So like when it came to whatever, like, I mean, obviously y'all stayed at the crib, but if she needed something, I took the burden of like I need to make sure I make it happen. You know what I'm saying? If it
Mhm.
was, you know, and then with me, then like doing stuff and giving stuff and that kind of and surprising with stuff and all of that. And so
Mhm.
like, oh, school's coming around. Like, all right, let's go. We got to take you to the store so you can, you know what I'm saying, get your
Supplies
school
and stuff.
jumping off. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying, and go
Mhm.
shopping and do this and do that. And
Mhm.
so like, and again, at no point did we should go on a date or we should. It was just like I'm like I was at the point where I knew that this was the direction of what it was gonna be, and so then
Which
I
is crazy.
my behavior, that lined up with that, and then eventually we had a conversation about it, and and even then I'm like, we'll see, because I can't make anybody do anything, so
Right. Yeah.
this is, and so then we just kind of went from there, and and then she ultimately goes away to Pittsburgh for that
Which is
year.
crazy because that's where I'm at now.
Right.
This
And
is
so
crazy.
like she goes away to Pittsburgh, and then like that was almost it. After that, like things,
Yeah.
it got real, and
Yeah.
I mean that's when I realized, which I've said actually in recent weeks, that sometimes I feel like the only reason that I'm saved is because if I wasn't, I would be the greatest of all time when it comes to criminality. Because
Yeah.
during that window, like I realized what I was capable of.
Yeah, bro.
Wasn't, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so like that was a that was a real situation or whatever, but
Yeah.
or as they say, but God,
But yeah, right.
so we transitioned through that stuff, and then after that, it wasn't too long after that we set a date officially.
Yeah.
And then
How many years later were y'all at?
It's 2024 right now, so we are at 21 years.
21 years.
2000, right?
Yo,
So
Deion Sanders. Yeah, that's crazy.
2003 is when we got married, November 1st. So
What? That's
year.
lady's birthday, November 1st. That's crazy.
Is it? Yeah.
November 1st. I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah. So 2003, we got married. LeBron's rookie year. Shout out to the king.
Exactly. Facts.
3-0 in the building. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of GOATs, the greatest of all time.
Yeah, facts.
No question about that. 2003. So you know what I'm saying? That's when we got married. And so this coming year, or this November, it'll be 21 years.
21 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been
and three kids. Three kids, right?
Yeah. So William, Michael, and Emmanuel. So and they all was born in October, coincidentally. Which is funny, and only one of them was supposed to be. But
wow,
the other ones crashed the party too. Like, nah, we all
we all pulling up.
We all pulling together. We all shout out to October. So they ended up coming through in October. But so now William, he is senior now this coming year. Michael is a freshman, and Emmanuel's in middle school now in the 7th grade.
Crazy.
Yeah, man. These dudes
crazy.
Getting old in these streets.
Oh yeah, man. Fatherhood, bro. Talk about that. That's wild, bro.
Man, so like, it's I found I just turned what year is this? 24. I just turned 44 like, a few weeks ago. And and it's like the one thing that I've learned with all of it, but fatherhood, whatever, is that you're never ready. Like people talk about they'll go to church when they get ready, when they get themselves together, or if it's, getting married or whatever. Oh, when I get ready, when I get myself. And so, and again, this is with the pretense of you already working on yourself and being responsible and doing what you need to do to the extent that you can do it. But even that, I mean, you don't know what's coming with any of it. You know what I'm saying? And so feeling like until you feel comfortable and like that's not real. That's not real. It don't matter what it is. That's just not real. It's, I mean, if that was the case in school, people would never elevate grades because they got to go to the next grade. Like, no, you going to this next grade. And for the most part, people never really feel right. They get comfortable where they are and whatever. But anyway, point being, it's like you never really are. It's just you just constantly learning. That's what it boils down to. Like, you have to be aware and adjust and pay attention to, kind of everything. When you talk about being, a parent, just in general, you learn real quick that it's not about you. And so, like, even for me, one of the things that, was on me to do before we even thought about having kids is we got a dog first, a puppy to be exact. That was on purpose because I'm like, that's a big jump from going from it's y'all two doing whatever you want whenever you want, and then you throw a baby in there all of a sudden, and it's like that's a huge transition. And so then the thought hits me like, man, we should get a puppy, because then now we got to pay attention to this other thing. And like, puppies known to be up at night making noise, not one. Puppies, you don't really, the communication ain't that great. You're trying to figure out what they want or what they need.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like, we go that route, and we get Prince. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Prince. Facts.
Yeah, and so like, we then just kind of going through the process and just learning the first stages of parenting was with him, because whereas before we could be like, oh yeah, this weekend we just gonna go out of town and go do something. Well, when I was at Prince, it's like, oh wait,
can't do that.
We got to find a babysitter. Like, we got to find, or even, at work or getting done with school or whatever. Like, we should just go and do whatever for the day. And it's like, well, we can't just leave him. Like, we got, what I mean? So like, your attention and focus starts shifting to something else, that's a living, breathing thing that you have to work through. And like I said, being up because he barking all night because he don't want to be in this cage, and, just all of these different things, and concerned about his well-being, and we got to pay attention. And what is he doing? And, so it's like, that really helped the transition, because then once William then came, then like, we already had some experience, and yes, one is a dog and one is a person, but there are a lot of similarities with what you have to do and how your mindset changes and all of that kind of stuff. So but yeah, it's really just, you just literally day after day build on it. I mean, some days you just wore out and just don't feel like being bothered. Some days you don't, you just don't want to really engage in whatever, but it's like, but you don't really get that luxury because you understand, like, you a parent every day. Like, you don't get to, I can have a bad day at work. I can, and this is something, again, like, every day you just keep learning. It's like, I can have a bad day at work or whatever, but, I had to learn how to not let that control how I respond to my kids. And, I can't get them an attitude because I got an attitude about work, Now they think something is wrong, or now they don't, they're feeling uncomfortable or whatever. So, I mean, but again, these are just day after day. Like, there's no amount of books you can read. There's no amount of anything that you can do to say okay, now I'm ready, because
Yeah.
and all of that stuff is helpful. But if it's like, well, I'm gonna wait until I, feel like everything, then you'll never have kids, or you'll never get married, or you'll never do whatever that thing is.
Wow, that's deep.
There ain't no such thing as waiting until everything lines up and everything is perfect, and that's just not real. So, but yeah, man, it's a process though, man, and it's humbling because seeing them take after you and want to do the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
What people don't pay attention to a lot is that it's not just the good stuff,
Yeah, they catch everything.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
everything.
being an example and all of that, and it's like, yeah, that sounds great, but the example is everything, like across the board, like and people just want to talk about the good stuff, and I find myself more and more having conversations with them about why you can't, or the stuff that we just say in general, like talking about stuff at work or different things that's happening, and they're and it's like, man, I can't stand that person, or whatever it is. And then I got a text from my youngest the other day telling me that they couldn't stand this person and all that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they were explaining that they heard that this person had a problem with me. And so you're like, well, I hate that person now. So now I'm like, well, no, you don't hate them. We love everybody. We may hate what they do. We don't hate them. And so like I'm trying to explain the difference. But but it's like, he didn't just come up with that. He was the kind of stuff that he would hear being said. And so again, yeah, you are an example, but it's all of it. Like all of it is an example. So the question is, what kind of example are you actually providing? So that's why I say it's humbling, because it's like, you hear stuff, or you'll hear the exact same thing you said the way you said it, and it's just like, I obviously gotta adjust, what I'm saying and what I'm doing, because I am an example, and it's of every aspect of it. So even when you think they're not paying attention, so yeah, man, it's real. It's real,
man. Yo, I'm switching off this subject to another subject. I'm gonna say these. What comes to mind when I say what I'm about to say, and it's 2 words. I'm only gonna say 2 words, and this is something that I feel like, bro, we got because there's some people that probably want to hear your side compared to everybody else who always want to speak on it. Sometimes they don't, but
oh boy,
these two words, bro. Michael Hurt. What come to your mind, bro? I'll never forget this. I'll never forget him.
Gosh.
I'll never. That's why I was like, bro, this is gonna be some different situation, bro. Yeah. Because we was all tapped in. We was thinking they're ready to keep it all up. Like, Michael Hurt. What comes to mind with that?
All right, so,
man, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna do an interview with my cousin Sean too about this too. I'm like, yo, to talk to me, because he was in.
So he was the coach.
He was in.
So the first time I ever seen him, I didn't really meet him, but the first time I seen him was at McKinley, because he was he was 2 years older than me, like my older sister. And so when they would have choir concerts, I'd be there watching them. And he was the guy that you always watched, you know what I'm saying? Because like he had vocals, you know what I'm saying? For those that don't know, like this flow, you know what I'm saying? Like he had serious vocals, you know what I'm saying? And so and he was just like, had that kind of it thing. And so even though it's the choir and they up there singing, you know what I'm saying, all these songs, Aladdin and all of this stuff, because my sister around singing them for 2-3 months, and whatever. And so, but like he was always like that guy who was singing, and so, and then never seen him, never thought about him or nothing.
Oh.
And then it was wow, some years later.
A lot of years, bro.
And where was I at? I was at somewhere playing basketball.
Yeah.
And one of my guys that I grew up with, Snoop, his uncle, technically, who's like our age,
Yeah.
Troy Robinson. He was the backcourt running mate
My
with
boy.
Simpkins.
My boy Troy. Shout out to Troy.
Yeah. Shout out to Troy, man. We was somewhere hooping, and I had just started trying to play again a little bit, and
Troy was so, man.
we eventually kind of get to a little break or whatever, and he like, so man, it's this league thing that somebody doing, and he's like, man, you should see about it. I'm like, man, what are you talking about, man? I'm like, I'm working, and you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not, we didn't have kids or nothing yet, but I'm like, man, I'm just like, I ain't even really trying to do all that.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm telling you, man, this ain't just like a regular league. It's like they paying folks to play or whatever. And so now, it done piqued my interest.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so what we talking about here? And he was like, I'm telling you, man, they got this little thing going on, man, and you better than most of these cats, even though you ain't even been playing that much. Like, you better than a lot of these cats now, and all of this stuff. So he like, hyping me up on it. I'm like, he was like, look, we got this meeting thing or whatever, you should just come and whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll come and see what's up. So we got this meeting, and it's at Twan's house.
Yes, salute to Twan.
And shout out to
Twan.
And so we over there, and this dude Mike come in, and I'm looking like, this can't be that same dude from back when I was younger. That he coming in, you know what I'm saying, with the leather coat on, with the fur hood.
All that, bro.
You know what I'm saying? With this other short, dark-skinned cat with him or whatever. And I'm like,
his partner. Yeah, his partner.
I don't know who this no-name gangster is. And so he come in and he, just talking this talk, and, and we're going to do it like this and that and this and that. And, and I'm just sitting here looking like, am I missing something here? Like, so anyway, I'm like, okay. So then they start having these, like, we gonna get these leagues together. We getting this league together, and he like, since he from there and he know the best players is here and all of this stuff, he want to get multiple teams if possible from here to represent the league, and and how Cass is gonna get all of this bread to play and all of this kind of stuff. And then it was like, but you gotta what was it? Like, you had to get these pledges or whatever, to get, it was so much to get these teams off the ground or whatever. And so you had to, each player, they wanted to raise, like, I don't know, maybe $1,000 or something. And then, and then that like help for expenses and all of that stuff. And, and again, something getting off the ground, and they had some sponsorship, but it was this and that. So it was going to be like this grassroots thing and all of this. And so anyway, I'm like, okay. So, I start like, man, and then they talking about how much you would get, if you were just a regular player. And then it's like, then they was going to have the quote power team of players that went out and around for these more notable things. And you was going to get, more money for that. And so like, I'm like, all right. So eventually, I slowly kind of like, all right, and I go to a couple other meetings and, start hearing more people talk about it and whatever. And I'm like, I mean, okay, if this is a thing. And so, I'm like, all right. So I start going through the process and trying to, get this, and they, they had all the paperwork and this and that and all these official documents and whatever. And so, I'm going through.
DJs and beat makers know the drill. Your boy back, they all run like sawmill. This beat was just sent to me, this was a fresh kill. But you ain't know when I load up, I act wild. Like draw four, my screen kicks like a bad child. It's time to relocate, but not the eastbound. Call me a virus, we moving to the west now. I've been bugging more ammo than any Russian. My 16s I air out like a semi-bussin'. My chick bad, I sing to her like David Ruffin. Give her the game, she roll up, we lit and puffin'. Thought I was done, but this rapping is in my bloodline. Heat feeding me beats, I zip them up like A-Shine. Swag so out of this world, never in state lines. Used to be passing with everything, now I take mine. Pittsburgh, my name Monte, some of you notice me. I get you lit and I'm brown, nickname me Hennessy. I came in the game, they ain't do nothing but doubt. But now I feel like a tongue to wear my name in your mouth.